Excuse my throat gateway throughout this video because I'm going through a processing of ascension at the moment, and I also am recovering from just an intuitive gut battle. And it's all good because I put myself into that battle to master a challenge just to overcome this video. And somebody by the name of Maj 7469, this being basically was questioning me and my motives. So let's go ahead and get into the question. I've been following you for a while and just somewhat keeping up with your videos you make of about certain people's inversion. This one really surprised me. Don't take this the wrong way, but now I'm starting to question even you and your motives. Good. I want you to question me and my motives because you're thinking for yourself. That's exactly why I'm gonna keep saying it. I sound like a broken record. The ones that know me know themselves. You never watched, and I'm gonna tell you my motives and who I am and my intentions in this reality. And I could tell you till I'm blue in the face. You still don't know me. I'm simply just am. I'm being whatever you think I'm not. Whatever you think I am, I still can't be what you think I am. I'm not the creator behind the videos. I'm observing the creator behind the videos. I'm not a human. I am observing self-playing human in what I identify with because I was taught to follow what I think I am, but I am that I am. All you can do is listen to the voice behind the content creator that mirrors what your thoughts don't say out loud. You never watch the video of me in it. All you see and all you hear is yourself. I simply go to work part-time. I look after kids in an organization. I come to my crib. All I think about is videos. What else is there to do? All I do is work. All I do is barely sleep. I don't know what that is. Why? I have somewhere to be in life. I'm not from this dimension. And when I realized that, that's when I was carrying and am still carrying more light in my mind so that I can travel to the next destination. Do you not understand that our body is a submarine? If I'm drowning in my ignorance, if my perception is under a dome-like firmament or a synthetic womb of consciousness that's in a transparent chamber with no secrets, but secret societies came up with these secrets, right? To genetically alter us and to having us identify with the encoded belief. But with all of that being said, none of that I just said is even factual nor a fallacy, but it's an observation that I've already been aware of. If I'm in that observation, then I'm aware of what I'm plugged into. And that's just inner polarity. Everything outside of me is a dream. All I am is a dream recording what I dreamed about. It never existed. My life was never physical, but I'm playing the game of a virtual world that plays physical. That's the play within the stage called the mind. I don't have a mind. I don't have a body, but I'm lying in my truth. Even though I lie, I still tell the truth. I'm neither right nor wrong. I'm gonna keep saying my saying to the day I die. Even though I lie, I still tell the truth, and I just lied in my truth. I'm a walking paradox. I contradict myself on purpose. Why? I've been here for so long. I am tired of watching the spell of cycle awareness or recycled awareness forgetting what it's playing with. Literally yourself. That's why when you're orgasming, when you are releasing your thoughts, all you're doing is seeing the energy of your desire lose itself. That's why I can't lose myself, no matter if I lose my energy or retain it. I simply am being what I want to be for that day. And what I want to be for that day still cannot satisfy my spirit. That's why I enjoy playing in duality. I can do so many things for my nature and still be aligned with my spirit. Because why? I am honest with myself. I hate getting on the internet and lying to people because I gain nothing from it. Not only just that, I am tired of being put on punishment since I was a child. I haven't been put on punishment in so long, I don't know what it feels like to be disciplined. Because why? I discipline myself. I punish myself. That's why if I lie, I always tell the truth with my honesty because I practice righteousness. I practice alchemy. I practice sorcery, illusionaries, or illuminating of illusions, mysticism, occultism, all these different ways of consciousness or esotericism, I'm in tune with that vibration because I am simply being a vibration that has to alchemize itself in a realm that's inverted by occultic societies that we are born into. I'm simply exposing what I was trafficked into. That's why I know these people. That's why they can't comment under my shit. They can't talk shit about me. They cannot react and say I'm lying. They cannot go against me because I know these niggas. I know these grown-ass women playing as men and vice versa. I know them. That's why they can't teach you gematria. Simply put, I can do that because I am not a Freemason. I have been in the realm of Freemasonry and I walked out of that shit. I'm going to keep saying that too. I don't care. Nobody gets that. I made a story time on that and an experience, and I'm still doing it on Patreon as well. It does not change. We have to expose Luciferianism. This is how deceitful this shit gets. It's so deceitful. You said you're starting to question even me and my motives, but yet you're asking me a question. Not only just that, you've been following me for a while. I didn't tell you to do that, but you're questioning me. And I don't mind the questions because my demons don't get irritated. Realistically, if I was to get irritated, I don't know myself. That's exactly why I can simply observe and give you the answer by being present with what the question of the answer I gave you can be comprehended in. Not only just that, you're questioning me, but asking me, how early do they incubate these people in order to plan out their manipulation on the masses? So is there some form of trust in between what you're questioning? How do you question something then ask a question to what you're questioning? You can't win in this world, right? So why even bother trying to win people's validation? That's why I talk to myself. And yet people still can't comprehend what I said in 6 minutes. That's why I don't make videos for people. I am simply being your awareness, making videos about awareness. And yet people are still not aware in awareness, and there's a reason why. There are so many people or so many levels to the psyops being played on us. One thing I understand from these inversion videos is that one thing I can really know for certain is myself. Exactly. One thing I guess I had to ask, Vaughn did go to jail/prison for a bit. So I wonder if that's when they got him during that time because I don't remember him always being like this. I think at one point he or she was true to themselves until I guess the money looked too good that they switched up. This is literally a karmic punishment. This is basically the law of correspondence. Not only just that, money will show who these people really are, who they always been. Stop calling me. I'm in a group chat right now and I'm gonna ignore that. But yeah, so anyways, money just exposes what these people have always been in, what they've been attracted to, what they always desire. So when they get it, oh my God, bro. So when they get it, you're gonna really see their submission. These people are willing to get bug broken for $1 bill, but they trust God. You trust this person that you call a God? That's exactly why Luciferianism is a concept. It's a thing that we're all born into. But who's chosen to really see it for what it is? That's exactly what that statement, I always thought, many are called, but few are chosen. I always thought back then, years ago, damn, I am chosen to be enlightened in this dimension. I have the eyes to see deception. I have discernment, this and that. But then as I got more aware, as I experienced more life, as I got older, experiencing more life and wisdom, I understood by questioning myself, because I don't know anything, but that's what a highly intelligent being would do. When you understand that intelligence cannot be defined by what they gave us definition in. So I understood that these bloodlines want us genetically to be inverted before the masses understands what it's being in that moment. So because you said, but since you also point out that Vaughn could be a biological female, how early do they incubate these people in order to plan out their manipulation on the masses? They're not even people. We gotta understand that when you see these people in inversion, in Baphomet experimentation, they're giving you the oppressor in a form that you see yourself in. That's exactly why gematria is the language of God. And that still is considered Satanism. And people cannot comprehend what I'm saying. That's exactly why when many are called or few are chosen, there's a reason why I've been telling people, the more you know, they will have to introduce themselves to you. And I'm speaking from experience. That's why I can't lie to y'all niggas. I can't lie to y'all. I love y'all so much. I love me so much. I love you so much. I would hate lying to you because I would have to pay for that times 1,000. I'm not trying to go through that. And realizing this shit, spiritual leaders, politicians, celebrities, actors, musicians, there's so many people in this dimension that lie for no reason because professionally they are actors. And I'm gonna make a video later on today about somebody admitting this shit from Boy Meets World. No, it's something, but 3.5 Men. Yes, that's the actor in there. But, cause my mom used to watch that shit. But what I realized is that they do this shit before timelines are even considered linear. If you really think about this, for 2025 years, people think as if men and women are what they are, but who told you that? That's not even being wise. If you're being wise, you would never say that's a man or a woman because realistically, majority of people that you know aren't even masculine or feminine. Not only just that, they're not even being a person. They're not even really being anything. They're on autopilot. There's not even a being in that body. But there's something possessing its algorithm to where it moves different, it walks funny, it talks a certain way. It went through all these injections of shit, hormonal mixing and just differences that get people to ascend in a world that was never meant for a spiritual being. The ones who do anything for money, I know, the thing is, I know their journey because being born in this shit and biologically not being altered, I can see this shit clearly. And even asking people in my family, when I would ask them, they would always say, I can't tell you that. You gotta be able to get the answers from one who is a Mason. And I would never understand that. But then as I got introduced to these beings, I realized that it's a bunch of grown-ass women that want to put your masculinity into submission. That's the only reason why these societies exist in secrecy, because the more you understand consciousness, there are beings in this world that want to take you away from the manipulation that you may become conscious in again. But they don't want you to see that again because you've been here for that long. And it's been so long to where they gave us a time. They said, we're going to watch them in a timeline that they think is 2025 years old. But who told you that? They've been doing this shit even in biblical time periods. BC, AD, BCE, before consciousness ever existed. They've been doing this shit for infinite amount of timelines or simulations. That's exactly why when you go outside of your body, there is no such thing as an identity anymore. You don't identify yourself. You're simply just consciousness. So they've been doing this shit, once again, before you can even define a word, before sorcery became witchcraft, or before life became real. It's that simple. That's why when I tell you people about families, celebrities, it's not the celebrities, it's damn near the whole entire dimension. Now, there are a small portion of us who are biologically men and women, but the best way to tell is their motives, their honesty. Many people who claim to be men or women, they're not real. And I can see through that shit. But because majority of people can't see it, so I introduced this shit to people because I was taught this shit, I contradicted it as well because I never believe when I'm taught, but I question when I'm being taught by myself and by what I allow myself to be taught by. When I taught people this shit in February, I didn't get it back then. To this day, I've gotten a solid comprehension of genetic altering. So where even people will inject estrogen in Halloween candy to pass out to children. And people will sit there and bash you and say, you're transphobic or homophobic for always outing out transgenders or whatever. But people don't see that children are being groomed by pedophiles and they're hiding in LGBTQ communities. They're calling themselves spiritual. They're calling themselves names. So when I point that out, people get mad at me for the truth, and I can't get mad about that because I am simply just an observation of false light, watching the light that I never chose to be in. I can simply carry this false light that I contradict in my mind because outside of me, nothing ever existed. These beings can even contradict who they're being. That's why they can't even ever teach you gematria. These beings are afraid to tell the truth because if they found out who they are and what they're being, then they will realize an infinite amount of spiritual depth that they put themselves in because they were in tune with excuse me, a version of God that they call money. That's why the route that Freemasons go down, and it's common as fuck, being a ball player, a musician, being famous, being idolized, being a sex symbol, being a porn star, being a preacher, being a teacher, being a parent, being whatever. Anybody who wants to become prominent in MK Ultra mind control is under Freemasonry deception. That's exactly why we have all been forgiven, because these things come from what our genetic makeup is instructed to do. We live in a realm that's already been watched numerous amount of times. How do you think these beings know us? They play as if they're people, but realistically, your ancestors are not human. That's why they call them demons. But realistically, you can't. So even with ancestral veneration or whatever, you had to do things that continue the mission of what your ancestors gave you. But why don't we ever contradict what ancestral veneration really means to a bunch of beings that are marked by beast? Niggas understand 666 for real. Because as a carbon-based structure, we are the blueprint and the makeup for everything that we make up. So if you're making up a God or a Satan or a Jesus Christ, you're idolizing your ego. You're idolizing words. You're idolizing a label. You're praying to a label. You're harvesting energy from labels or from people. You're not even being wise by doing that. That's why these people, they can't make videos every single fucking day just because they should have fun with it. Where's the fun when you're not making money? If you're not making money, who are you? And when you make the money, who are you? Because nothing changed. The only thing that changed in my world was I'm born into this shit. So realistically, I have a free pass to do what I want. But why would I want to go that easy route? It's easy to lie to people. It's easy to manipulate society. That's way too easy for me. But why would I do that? What do I gain from that? I would get bored doing that instantly. To me, the hardest challenge, the biggest obstacle is being honest. I love that journey. I want to go down that path. That's an extreme difficulty that many people fail in on the first second that they ever try to enter that level. That's why people can't level their enlightenment and the state of consciousness that Israelites or Israelis came up with. That's why I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe in a family or children. I don't believe in all this other shit that is outside of us. No. Do I have a family? Yes. Do I see people? Yes, I do. Do I see what's going on in the world? I sure do. That's exactly why the videos I make, it's not to satisfy or entertain what you have been taught, what you are teaching yourself. No. It's simply to tell you that what you have been training yourself to believe all these years does not make sense to your spirit. That's why these people were never spiritually being conscious. These people will make spiritual content and then they'll stop doing it. Why did you stop being yourself? What was it that told you to go against yourself, to being somebody else that is being idolized through symbolism of masonry? That's why all of a sudden when niggas start doing music and shit, you gotta be like, nothing wrong with that, but what's your reason? Because you can still do music, but don't forget the mission. Always be conscious of what you've been saying to people, what you've been teaching yourself through occultism. But then you want to go into the realm of occultism because money's involved? Uh-oh, somebody's about to become a sellout. But what does that even mean, though? What does a sellout really mean? Selling out your moral expression of what you should uphold with divine laws. But then once you're imbalanced, you're walking on the path of the shadow side. Nothing wrong with that because you're still in duality. But if you follow the shadows, where will you end up? When there's no light to bear. Have a great and divine reflection.